We're recording.
Yep. Does it sound better now as well?
Yeah, it does sound better.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's just you can't. It's better in terms of lag, but obviously it's not the Yeti. That's the only drawback, isn't
that's
it?
it. I want to use my iPad, but it might die.
Okay. Can you use the Yeti on the iPad?
Yeah, because I got this this adapter off Amazon, so I can do like memory cards, USB, HDMI. So sick.
Does that not go into your phone?
No, because it's USB-C.
Oh right.
So yeah, really annoying. But hope the sound's not too bad, is it?
No, it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey guys, and welcome to the Lunge Lift podcast. Welcome to 2021. How you doing, Ash?
I'm all right, mate. I survived 2020, so things could be worse.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I know what you mean. It's been a bit of an eventful year. I don't think we need to, recap on any of it. I think everyone's pretty much up to date with the drama, shall we say? But I think it's been a really cool opportunity to maybe discuss maybe some of our reflections on 2020 and maybe some of our predictions and thoughts for the new year, and maybe some of the ways to approach the new year. So, Ash, what would you say have you reflected on from 2020?
I think 2020 was a fascinating year in that it was such a pattern interrupt for everyone. Like no one was prepared or ready for the circumstances which we found ourselves in, and everyone's having to figure out ways of just coping with this like unique situation that was imposed on us. I think obviously the training from home scene exploded because people weren't allowed into gyms during lockdowns, and people who had exercise as one of their outlets and key habits for their normal lifestyle were forced to think more creatively and how could they still get what they needed out of training without the access to the gym that they previously had. And I think that was great in that it made people examine what they actually got out of training. Like, what's that fundamental question about why are you training in the first place, which we talk about like a lot in previous podcasts. And only if you were clear about why you trained and what you hope to get out of your training could you then form a meaningful home training program. Obviously, if it involved lifting heavy weights and you didn't have access to that equipment, you were forced to think, okay, well, why do I want to get strong? What do I want to get strong for? Can I still achieve that stimulus in a different way, or at least go into maintenance mode so that I'm ready and maybe explore some different types of training while I'm forced into this situation? What did you make of the whole home training thing? Because you've obviously got the stub shed, which is very well equipped, and you sort of had a bit of experimentation with the dumbbells, I remember at the start.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I played around with just dumbbells at the start, mainly to kind of see what everyone else was going through, because I like to, in a way, like practice what you preach to some degree. And also, I was boozing so much, my recovery weren't that great, so I thought I better keep the central nervous system stress a little bit lower, so I shouldn't lift so heavy. But it was really good. I mean, I think I've taken a positive from last year's home training scene is it's made people step back and reflect, as you said, on like why they're training and basically, and not just conforming to what everyone else is doing. And basically, because when you're at home on your own, you have to have, say, discipline rather than motivation of everyone around you. So you have to be disciplined to train. So you have to be doing something you enjoy, otherwise you just will not do it repeatedly. And I think that was a big reality thing for a lot of people, is in like, oh, actually, I was just doing that because everyone else was doing it around me. I don't actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
And whatever it was. And it's like, or they might be like, fuck, I missed that so much. And it's like, that's all I want to get back to. And all it did was then heighten their experience when they get back to, say, the gym environment or whatever environment they were at. So for me, I think the home training scene is a really good opportunity for everyone to kit themselves out with the necessities for their home life, and then be able to then plan going forward. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you think like vaccines might do, or when gyms reopen and stuff like that, the fact they can be closed at any point, as has been shown again from reopening and then being closed again. If you didn't learn from most of last year, take this opportunity to invest. Not saying you have to kit out a whole gym, but get maybe 2 sets of dumbbells, some light ones, some heavy ones, and then maybe some bands or some shit. I don't know, just some extra stuff. So when you're at home, you can create a stimulus. And that's what I think. If you didn't learn, you think, I'm just going to get back to the gym. It's like, but what if the gym's never reopened? That's obviously a really out there statement, which I doubt that wouldn't happen anyway. But there is going to be a change. And what is that change going to be? Who knows yet? And it's like, how long will it take to adapt? And how long will it take till you've adapted to the change? Because at the end of the day, we're adaptable creatures. Whatever's put in front of us, we adapt. And like when we got out of the first lockdown, with things are open again, and we was able to do something a bit more freely, you forgot about the stress. You remember it, but you forgot about all the restrictions. Just like you forgot what it's like to not wear a mask. It's like now that's so normal, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I don't remember what it was like to not wear a mask, but I'm very much looking forward to not wearing a mask. I'm in both respects, but I understand the need for the mask to kind of, to help stop the spread and all that stuff, like to help us move forward. So I find it really interesting that I think, I know I've kind of taken it away from the training from home scene, but I think bringing it back, the training from home is stop thinking it as a substandard thing, and to think of it as, this is now a valid option. Whatever kit you have or whatever kit you don't have, like, this is now an opportunity for you to grow and get stronger wherever you are. Don't rely upon some machines or some barbells. Think beyond that. Get a sandbag.
Something you said just there was I think really good about managing your home environment, and I think that relates really well to something else I've learned about 2020 is everyone's got forced to work from home. If they were used to being in an office, used to commuting in, and used to going to a gym, so much got stripped away that the normal structure of your day and the way that society is laid out was completely transformed. So people had to create their own discipline and structure at home to achieve what they wanted to. Because I think when you get up, commute to work, there's a very clear separation of your home life and your work life, and then there's a clear separation of, you go to the gym and that's where you do your exercise, and then you go to the pub or the restaurant and that's where you do your socializing. Now everything is at home, so you've got to figure out, how do you transition between those tasks? What do you actually want to do in a day, and how can you set up your home environment to allow you to do so? And on a personal level, like really simple things, but using different parts of the flat to do different things. So I have like my dining table where I do my eating. I got a different desk to do my working. I would train outside, try to get outside as much as I could to, again, just have a change of environment, and sofas just for relaxing. So you're not blurring the lines between what you do in which seat, and it just helps you create the mental state of those different modes that you need to be in, because we did have such sort of clear boundaries in terms of what we did in a normal life removed, and that blurriness just meant you were never really doing anything fully. Because if you're like on the sofa watching Netflix, trying to do some work, and then you're doing your exercise in front of the TV as well, it's like, well, is that my work environment? Is it my relaxing environment? Is it my exercise environment? And if you don't have that transition, I think you end up just being stuck in a middle ground where nothing really gets done. I think you go ahead, mate.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. So I was talking to someone yesterday who was talking to a friend, and they were saying how they were struggling mentally, and it's like, but they felt like they shouldn't be struggling. And he was saying that, he has a good job, he's well paid, he has no issues, and he's comfortable, and he didn't understand why he was like stressed and had his he was anxious and all these issues. And it was like, but then after discussing what his daily routine was, it's like get up, work from say 8 till say 5, then at 5 go in the other room for the Peloton, and then go and have dinner, sleep, and go to bed, and do it again and again and again. And it's like, as you said, it's like even though he had a different room to say train, do his Peloton thing, they were still not getting outside. And this is I think one of the important things about this latest lockdown that they've managed to keep in is outdoor exercise. And because it's like, I think without that, even though there's limitations still on that, without having that thing of being able to go outside and exercise for an hour a day or something like that, it's just going to destroy people and destroy their morale, destroy their well-being on a whole different level. And beyond just the thing of just being able to go out for a walk, because it's like being able to, even if that isn't your exercise or whatever it is, like being able to move outside, get the fresh air and stuff. I said, you need to change your state, because constantly being in the same environment just becomes a very degenerative feeling.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think the theme between a lot of things we've just been saying is reviewing what's important to you. And because so much got taken away from what we were used to doing and how we used to exist, I think because the absence created so much space to think, shit, why is this so much worse? Like, what am I missing about my old life? It actually made people very aware of what's important. And, like the first one you just said there, getting outdoors, getting fresh air, getting into nature, having a bit of a change of scene for your mental state. Just if you don't, you're basically a caged animal. Like if you look at a big block of flats, it's basically like a battery farm full of chickens where everyone's cooped up in a small box and not able to go anywhere else. So having that freedom to just get outside, have some fresh air, move your body is really important. So people started appreciating that. I think the other thing people started appreciating was social interaction. The fact that you couldn't see your friends and family whenever you wanted. People made extra effort to stay in touch, like through technology. And then when we were allowed to see each other again, obviously people then did really appreciate just that time of being near people. I think get a little bit woo, but actually like the energy of being near somebody,
the community,
it is really important, and you get a lot from it, just from on like a deeper level of feeling good, which is why solitary confinement is such a bad punishment, right? Is that you really fuck people up.
What else? I kind of just following on from that, and I think that was like skirting around something that I've been like saying to like clients and other people. An equation that I really like that someone says online is Jay Alderton says stress plus rest equals growth. All right. So the way I've put a positive spin on all of this Corona and COVID malarkey and stuff like that is life before we were taken for granted. We were basically doing what we want when we want, being reckless with it. So that was our rest period. So we was just doing whatever we want. We had the ability to do everything. So then life come at us with a COVID thing and basically locked us all up, and that's now our stress period. So now this is where everything has gone stress. And now before anyone to evolve and adapt and grow, you need those two. So we as a species, hopefully, is going to grow and evolve into something better. We had to go through a state, and it was when I was talking to a friend yesterday about this, and he was saying, like, when you go back to, let's say, the Spanish flu, and then you look at the Roaring '20s, like how like there was so much creativity, there was music, there was art, there was so much in the 1920s. Yes, there was the war after that, but it's in like it was also the fact they've come out of this like pandemic. And like they had the ability to move on and let those creative juices flow. So it's like if you think of this as just a period of time that we have to go through to get to the next level, because we were just stagnant at this bit and we needed to move on, but we were stuck. So we had to say, right, everyone, like the fact that it's taken companies this long to realize you can work remotely, like how backwards thinking is that? Yeah. So it's like, because I think you need your four walls, and yes, you need that for like the interaction and stuff, and you do have the great, say the feeling of being in a working environment. But think about how much more productive you are when people work from home and they're not just being shit, they're actually working. You've got no distractions, you work harder, you work more effectively. So maybe still we need some adaptations and stuff like that. But this is now that next step that we needed to understand that we're not shackled by the basically the 100 years prior, and we're now into the next 100-year block. So it's just a thought that I've been like,
I think so.
Like processing recently. So
yeah, I think that's spot on. Like you have to have a stressor or removal of something to appreciate or create space for anything new to move in. So I think that has made a lot of people, like even work-wise, people unfortunately, got furloughed, lost their jobs, and then they had to think, right, what do I actually want to do with my career? Like now that my normal way of working is completely changed, what do I want my life to look like? And that would have never happened had there not been that pattern interrupt. So yeah, lots of learnings from 2020, all the cheesy cliches. But what do you think about 2021? Like, how are you taking those learnings from 2020 and trying to apply them to the new year?
I think understanding that things are not going to change anytime soon, and that's not even in a negative way. It's understanding that focus on what you can at the moment, and basically when things become apparent, that you can now do these things, so then take them as they come, rather than saying, right, I want to start my X when, like for instance, I want to start my strength training goal when the gym's open. Okay, so then they open and they shut down again, then what? So again, it's that really reviewing back to that why, and it's in saying, right, okay, I want to get stronger and I want to be like, okay, no, I'm actually going to be specific with me, right? So I want to do some cycling races this year, right? So I was talking to British Cycling, so that was the first step. I was talking to them saying, cool, okay, what's the procedures I need to go through to then start doing some races, go and working my way up the rankings. And they was like, well, obviously a lot of races are not on at the moment. So, and we don't know when they're going to be on. So now I'm not going to base my training on a race date. I'm going to base my training on, cool, okay, I know roughly around June time, hopefully some races have become apparent. And rather than fixating on one particular date, I'm giving myself a direction. I'm going to start all my training based towards that direction. If something comes up before that and I feel ready, then I'll do that. But if not, I feel good because you're going to be in a better state.
Exactly.
So it's looking at what you have control of and controlling that. So when we talk about controlling your controllables, because I have an idea that hopefully by June there might be a bit more flexibility, shall we say, in what we can and can't do.
Yeah.
And by that point, hopefully I might have an opportunity to race. And if I don't, I'm not likely putting all my eggs in that one basket. And understanding that if I don't do anything in June, if I don't do anything this year, it's not a bad thing. It just means I've got better at cycling. And then next year after that, when there might be a race, I'll be fucking even better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I think the way I frame it to a client is you can't wait for things to be perfect before cracking on with what you want to achieve. And if there's anything we've learned from 2020 is that circumstances out of your control will constantly be changing. So if you're waiting for the stars to align to start doing that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's a training program, a fitness goal, a career change or anything, everything's never going to be perfect. So don't wait for circumstances to make it easy for you. Just go after it and make the best of the situation that's ahead of you, because if you are waiting for gyms to reopen before you start training for that goal, you could be waiting a really long time. Whereas if you just start working on it in whatever way you can at the moment, you'll be in such a better position by the time gyms do open. You may even have achieved the goal anyway. So just having that adaptability to deal with the hand you're dealt, I think is a major learning in training and also in wider life. I
think we've shown, I think as a species we are resilient creatures. We can face adversity in all sorts of ways, and I'm hoping that from 2020 people look back on how they reacted to the first lockdown, to the second lockdown, to the third lockdown, and hope that over those reactions, they've got less. So basically, again, using me as an example, first lockdown, booze, ate like shit. I did a lot of practical stuff around the house, But I didn't put myself into a good state. Realized I was in a bad place, undone that, and kind of got myself into a better place. Second lockdown come by, and it was like, cool, okay, I'm not going to now go back to that state because I know that it's going to pay, it's going to do me damage in the long term. And then basically each time these lockdowns have come, I've basically got a lot less stressed upon it, and now say, right, cool, I now look at it in a lot more holistic view and say, right, this is how I should carry on. Rather than focusing on the lockdown, I focus on what am I doing right now that is keeping me moving forward. And if I can't do in-person PT anymore, and someone doesn't want to go over Skype, say as an example, and I can't train them anymore for a period of time, then that's fine. It is what it is. I now have to talk, how can I now replace that income? How can I do what it like, rather than stressing about it?
Exactly.
And just understanding that we just got to move with it. And I mentioned to you prior, but it's like being more like water and going with the flow rather than being a rigid rock, just not moving. And it's like, that's a very like, it's like yogi, wooey and stuff like that. It's so true, because it's like, I think in times like this, you need to be more like water. There is times where you need to be stuck rigid to the point, because that's when you're trying to get something out there. You're really trying to solidify something. But when there are times of uncertainty, you need to just go with the flow. And you can have an opinion, you can have this thing, but kind of try and stick with it, if you know what I mean. So try and go with the flow.
I think like you're almost just resisting reality if you try to pretend that it's not happening, or you're frustrated at the situation. You waste so much energy just being pissed off and trying to change something that's unchangeable. It's a complete waste of energy that could be rediverted to adapting and improvising to still achieve something, or the original thing in a different way. Like gym kit, I like to bring things back to training because it's probably what we're most qualified to talk about. But if you're used to training in a CrossFit gym with all the bells and whistles, and you could do any workout in any variation, any time domain, now you're just stuck at home with a dumbbell, right? What can you do, rather than being, I can't do this, I can't do that? Just focus on what you can do, and you can still get like great results in a lot of different ways, as long as you're creative enough to do so.
I saw something on social that's from CrossFit, I think, and they were saying how, I think it was from CrossFit, or it's something to do with CrossFit, and they were saying how it's good because it's taken CrossFit back to what it was, as in training in the garage, looking at people's stuff online and looking at like results, and like it's kind of giving it back to that like old school feel, rather than always, as you say, rather than the bells and whistles, which we all love and we all want, and it's great to have. But as you say, bring it back to remembering, like we're going to keep saying, but why and what is it? What are you doing it for?
Yeah, spot on. I think something else along with home workouts that's going to be big in 2021 is just how do you manage your well-being working from home? Because like related to the earlier point we made, it's such a strange setup, and I think it's raised a lot of issues which were just beneath the surface but disguised by the busyness of normal life. But mental health, everyone's talking about, and a lot of people struggling just because they don't have those normal touch points of a normal life, seeing friends and family so frequently. They don't have the normal routine that built in the healthy habits that they might have had before, and they don't have the accountability, or like, if you're eating a McDonald's at your desk every day, you probably would feel a bit bad about it, but maybe on Deliveroo and you live at home, that's not such a big deal because there's no one around. And like that's a pretty shit example of a point where I'm basically saying that understanding how to look after yourself as an individual, but also if you're a business, how do you look after people from afar when you don't have that community aspect of all being in the same office? You don't have the community aspect of all going to, like, if you go to gym classes, and that's where you get your social interaction. And I think there's going to be a big uptick, not only in just like home workout training programs and internet programs, but also just how to look after your well-being overall a lot better as an individual when those distractions are removed.
I think that what you just said that reminded me of something that I saw Matt Fraser say, and putting in the work when no one's looking. So when you're on the competition floor, that you see the snapshot. And that's the thing. It just reminded me when you say about the McDonald's at your desk, you feel bad. And it's like, so if you are, if you're at your desk, you're using everyone else's basically peer pressure to stop you eating McDonald's at your desk. And when you're in your own comforts, you eat McDonald's at your desk. You need to ask yourself, why are you eating McDonald's in the first place? Is it just pure laziness? And why would you not do that at your desk? Because if you know you shouldn't be doing it at your desk, why is it okay to do it in the comfort of your own home? Because you know you're just deteriorating and whatever, using just that as an example, because I think it's a great one. It really is. It's like, it come to me as in like, over the nearly, say, 10 years doing PT, I've always said to people, I don't drink during the week. I just don't see the point. It's like, why would you drink and have like 1 or 2 beers on the Tuesday? There's just no point. And it gets to say maybe Friday, Saturday, you have a couple. It is what it is. You know, your lifestyle dictates whatever it is. But then I was like, bloody having a whiskey on a Monday night. I'm like, and I was justifying it to myself, saying, I'm trying to like whiskey. So I'm getting myself into it. I'm like, what on earth am I doing? It's like, you know, that's the thing. I would not normally do that. And actually, I was taken out of the structure of a Monday to Sunday, taken out of that routine, and giving yourself as every day is the same day. So then you have to differentiate. You don't have to differentiate a weekend, but you need to understand your habits and make sure that they're a daily habit, not a Monday to Friday habit or Sunday to Thursday habit.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? I think just thinking about that McDonald's example, that person is using social judgment to drive their healthy habits. So the healthy habit is actually extrinsically motivated. They want to appear healthy to others when actually, when others aren't around, they don't value it so highly. And I think that psychological component to why people do things, like if they're not going to the gym anymore, do they want to do the show off workouts as much? Do they want to lift really heavy because people are watching, or are they actually not bothered about that because no one's around? And I think a lot of people have examined their motivations for why they do what they do in normal life. And we could open the social media wormhole, but
let's not do that on this one. This will be another half hour at least minute.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. Like the key takeaways: accepting what you can control and what you can't control, and doing the best you can to make progress, even though circumstances are not perfect. I think looking after yourself, working remotely is going to be crucial in 2021. So we anticipate some evolution and innovation in how people make that easier for themselves, and just being more open-minded and creative with your training to get a stimulus some way or another.
I think it'd be really appropriate that, obviously we're both online coaches and stuff like that, but as in like, if you are serious about any sort of training and to be consistent and also be able to adapt with whatever, say, regulations, whatever gyms open and or whatever you have, this is an opportunity to work with a coach that then is not necessarily, so you can have like, so basically the coach can guide you through your journey. So if the gym's closed again, you're not stressing. So just taking away another stressor of, oh fuck, I was supposed to be working towards this. Like that's what the coach-client relationship is all about. So they take that stress from you and manage it appropriately so that you feel that you're continually still progressing and going with it. So this is an opportunity, you know, get in contact with Ash or myself, you know, or anyone that you follow online that you respect, and talk to them. And you know, it might seem like an unnecessary expense because you're like, there's so much free stuff out there, and there is so much content. And I put stuff out, we all put stuff out there. But at the same time, it's not for you specifically. And that's the thing, is we want to make sure that we're taking away that stress of looking at what should I do today. It's like, cool, I've already got something told that I need to do today. So I've already got to work, I've got my training just like you'd have in a class or whatever like that, or you'd be following a plan. So you already have those 2 things done. So you can take that away and then focus on anything else that you need to worry about. So take it away. But I think it was a really nice conversation, mate. I think it was a nice reflective one. Obviously, it's been a lot of thoughts on, I think, everyone's mind. So we really hope you got something from today's episode. I just enjoyed talking about it. It was really good. So as always, if you did like it, please leave us a review. 5 stars on iTunes would be really appreciated. Check us out on YouTube. all the normal platforms. Visit us on our website, lungeandlift.com, and our Instagram, lunge.lift. But until next week, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you then.
Cheers, guys.